Inside the 18 live from Camp Shutout as everyone's in their car. I'm Michael Majid. With me is 99 World Cup winner Saskia Weber.
What's up, you guys?
What is up? We've got Pro GK Academy, as you know him, Omar Zeenni, and our special panelist today. You know him as the one and only senior goalkeeping analyst for the Athletic, Matt Pyzdrowski. What is up, dude?
So this is exciting for me.
It's gonna be a fun time, man. I mean, this is a little bit different than how we did it last year, right, Omar?
Yeah, no, last year I love being in person. I love experiencing Camp Shutout in person and seeing everybody's faces. But, you know, this will do for now.
All right. So anyway, guys, it's going to be a little bit different, obviously, than a usual Inside the 18 episode right here. This is special just for everybody who's at Camp Shutout. No awards show presentation with a huge banquet this year because we're keeping things safe. But at the same time, we still want to keep the show going. So what we decided to do basically is we're going to do a lot of different topics, guys. We're going to be talking about everybody's careers. We're going to be talking about, you know, recent games that have just been happening. We've been talking about specific techniques going on in goalkeeping and breaking down some videos. We're going to have some questions and answers from everybody at Camp Shutout who's in your car right now. So first off, before we kind of get everything going, I want everyone out there who might not be familiar with who the heck we are to kind of say a little bit about everybody. So first off, let's just start with our guest panelist right here, Matt Pyzdrowski. Matt, why don't you tell the audience who might not be familiar with who you are, what you're all about and how you have a Camp Shutout connection?
Sure. Man, I joined Camp Shutout way back in 2004, dating myself a little bit there. But maybe about 6 months before that, I was playing ODP, and I played for Illinois. Stan happened to be on the Wisconsin side. He had seen me pull off some save that I still have no idea how I saved it, closed my eyes and got lucky, pushed it over the bar. And my coach was Doug Cardosi. So Stan kind of talked to Dougie, and that way invited me up to camp, went up to camp, impressed enough that Stan ended up giving me a scholarship to go to Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and then when they transferred over to Marquette, followed them to Marquette, continued on after that for a professional career, played with the Portland Timbers, then went over to Sweden, first with Ängelholms FF, then played with Helsingborg, and then finished my career with Varberg. And now I'm writing for The Athletic. So I've always loved goalkeeping, and this is kind of my way to keep the passion going. And then, of course, I'm coaching as well. So it's kind of cool. It's come full circle. I'm coaching at the first club I came over here with Ängelholm. So it's, life's good. No complaints.
I mean, look, it's absolutely awesome. And I love with the fact that, like, with the power of technology nowadays, that, like, we can still have you on the show, even though neither any of us can fly out to Wisconsin this year. You would have obviously had the longest travel of anybody to attend this show, but nowadays with Zoom we can make this all happen. I want to move on right now to somebody that some of the people here at Camp Shutout might be familiar with in regards to their accolades, but may not know them personally because they weren't at the show last year. So obviously I'm speaking about myself. No, I'm speaking about the one and only Saskia Weber. Saskia, why don't you tell some of the campers here who might not be familiar what you're all about?
Hey guys, awesome to be here and see all your faces. Well, some of you. Not everybody's videos up. Saskia Weber, I played for the U.S. team for a very long time. And before you were born, I won the 99 World Cup. Stop laughing, Omar. I won the 99 World Cup with, as you probably know them, the 99ers, Mia Hamm, Brandy Chastain, and everybody. Also bronze in 95 World Cup, 96 Olympic gold. I played pro in Japan. I helped start the WSA, which was the original women's pro league here in the United States. Now is the NWSL. And currently, I am the goalkeeper coach at UCLA. And I'm here at work for Inside the 18. I help host Inside the 18. We could keep going, but I won't take up that much of your time.
I mean, look, that's the thing is, like, honestly, for any of the campers there who are not familiar with some of the people on this panel right here, their resumes are a mile long. And it could be 90 minutes just describing their careers. So with that moving forward, we're going to talk about a guy that you guys are all very familiar with because he's got over 17 million followers, according to the latest data that I've seen throughout social media. again, very, very popular channel, Pro GK Academy, the one and only co-host Omar Zeenni.
What's up, guys? Yeah, I wish I could be there with you guys in person, but again, this doesn't have to suffice for now, and then hopefully next year we're back at the big show. But yeah, my name's Omar. I started my channel 4 years ago, Pro GK Academy, on YouTube and then Instagram. Little by little, made a lot of good friends in the industry, Stan being one of them, and realized how awesome the goalkeeping community was and how awesome everyone. I love to share ideas and all that stuff. So I've 4 years now been posting and. Yeah, just love what I do. Love being a co-host on Inside the 18. Love listening to Mike's jokes every week. I love being right after Saskia, where I don't have much to say because I didn't win a bronze, I didn't win a gold, I didn't go to the Olympics, I didn't go to a World Cup. So it's difficult for me to eclipse that. But yeah, no, good to be here and excited to just share some thoughts today.
It's always so funny though, because like the thing is I'll be like, with me, 99 World Cup winner Saskia Weber, and then like Omar just kind of is like, can you just make me go second so I don't have to follow that with but you've got some huge accomplishments, dude.
No, I'm like successful like on the internet, and Saskia is like successful in real life. So it's just one of those things where I'm just trying to navigate the realist like side of me.
Nothing humbles you more than when you're in front of somebody that's actually accomplished a lot in life, and then you go like, oh, people do kind of have facades on social media compared to the reality. But in actuality, Omar, obviously you were very highly esteemed at UC Davis. You were an all-conference player over there. But we'll move on right here. For those of you guys who are not familiar with me, my name is Michael Majid. A few years back, started Inside the 18 as a way to stay connected with the goalkeeping community. Been very fortunate, that I had a personal relationship with Omar going years back till about when he was 12 years old, playing club soccer. Saskia also and I go years back, probably to like the mid 2000s, I think is when we first met. And I'm just absolutely humbled and honestly honored to the fact that they're both willing to, be involved with this project, with myself. Matt obviously, is now, become a good friend of ours as well too. And obviously with the Camp Shutout connection, I dabbled in the goalkeeping world. I also do comedy and writing outside of my goalkeeping element. I worked at clubs such as Real SoCal. We won 3 national championships in a row. We did not get a 4th because that's when the DA was formed, and we had to play up a year, which Omar remembers what that was like. It was a little bit rough for us that year. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to coach at pretty much every youth level whatsoever, and even dabbled a little bit in the professional level. So with that being said, guys, let's kind of get into some of this stuff today. What I want to do to start off with, guys, is start off with talking about some of the games that have been going on, because I know the number one thing that a lot of people have been bringing up is basically David de Gea. David de Gea and kind of what's been going on with his performances. As you guys probably saw in the FA Cup semifinal yesterday, Chelsea versus Manchester United. Not the greatest outing for David de Gea. And actually a couple weeks back, Omar and Matt actually had a long discussion about that. So I'm going to kind of leave it up to them to start off with. What is going on with David de Gea? And let's start with Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can go on, and we've talked about it in the past, about technical failings, but at this point, it's very, very clear this is psychological. He's I was hoping he had turned a corner about a month ago when Solskjaer backed him publicly, because you saw a little boost in his performances, especially against Crystal Palace last week. And then last night happens, and it's just, it just kind of reinforces to me like how vital, how important the psychological side of the game is. I was talking earlier today to an outlet here in Sweden, and like, I've come to the conclusion that he's just not motivated in the same way anymore. He's kind of achieved everything he's set out to achieve at United. He's been there for 9 years. I know he just signed a new contract, but it's almost like, what more does he have to prove to United? And I think that's any goalkeeper, any player will tell you it's a dangerous place to get comfortable. And that's, I think, how like some errors can kind of start creeping into your game. And honestly, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to move him on. I don't think it's going to happen for a number of reasons, but just to give him a fresh start, so he can kind of get out there and have something new to, bite his teeth into. But at this point, it's really tough because I hope he rediscovers his form. I hope what ends up happening is that United ends up bringing Dean Henderson back and it lights a fire up his backside. That competition can hopefully wake him up a little bit, and then see if it works. I mean, it's a win-win for United because if they bring him back and De Gea puts his performances, back in place to where they were, they're in a great position. And if Dean Henderson comes in and outplays him and earns the spot, likewise, because then obviously you've produced your own talent as well. So we'll kind of wait to see what happens. I think it's going to be tough to move him on, but it's like he needs a refresh in one way or another.
Yeah, Saskia, you obviously, you've seen so many different levels of goalkeeping. No, but I mean, in regards to the fact is that you've always talked about how you need somebody pushing yourself. And,
Absolutely.
I think the problem with David De Gea is, you're right, is that Sergio Romero hasn't been pushing him. And because of the fact that he's playing at a club like Manchester United, he's every little move that he's done is micro analyzed to the nth degree.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like, we're actually going to take a look at a play right now, which I honestly don't think it was really honestly that much of his fault. I'm talking about the Olivier Giroud shot near the end of the first half. It was actually an extra time from a pretty solid cross. So let's take a look at this real quick right here in regards to this play right here. So I'm going to make this full screen for everybody to see this here. And as we come in, as this plays. Okay, so here we're going to see it basically. So here, look at his position first off. So he's ready for the cross right here. He's obviously invested in the play, but then watch what happens here. So he's in this position right here. This is where Giroud is. He's on his near post right there. Giroud, the ball's played into Giroud. Simple touch and a cross like that. I'll take it to Saskia. Saskia, any faults there in your mind?
Well, I mean, yeah, he invested in the play. I don't think so. Like, I think that if you look at his body language when the ball comes across, he's very upright. There's only one thing that's going to happen here. He's obviously not going for the slided ball, so he's got to be ready for a reaction and for something quick on goal. And I don't think he is. I think he's flat-footed and totally upright. And so because of that, I mean, that's where you come into like how mentally invested is he. Look, De Gea has been and is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And we all know that, but we saw him fall off the other season when he had that bad run as well, when I thought it was mental too. And I think that is, I don't think he's prepared for this at all. Like why are you not like that? Your head should turn automatically. You should be wait for it and ready to react. And he's not, in my opinion. And I agree with you 100%. I think he absolutely needs pressure, somebody behind him biting at the bit, somebody that's forcing him to be at his best all the time. And if he's done what he has to do at Man U, then it is time to move on, because the last thing he wants to do is end your career this way. Not focused, not invested, not 100% there. Find what's going to put you there. On that play, he's just not prepared for the shot. Look, it's in close, period. Okay, it's a tight situation, but he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world. So,
Omar, anything you want to add to that? Because I know that you do these breakdowns literally every day, and you kind of showcase. Yeah. But you speak from a devil's advocate standpoint, which I really love.
No, I think just kind of want to touch on what Matt said earlier. I think, again, we thought he turned the corner about a month ago, and we said, okay, the team is on its 19-game unbeaten streak. So hopefully that he can stay consistent. He's motivated by Bruno Fernandes coming out there and kind of like revitalizing the team after the break. So I was hoping to see that, and from there, hopefully they continue to win and win and win. But as we've started to see, it is a psychological issue. But like Matt and Saskia are saying, like it almost seems like sometimes he doesn't care. And I don't know what it is about his personality right now, but like Matt said, again, he touched on everything I was going to say about he's kind of accomplished everything he needs to accomplish there. Got there when he was 20, got his first start, did extremely well, been there for 9 years now, got a big contract. So now it's like motivation-wise, what else does he have? And I read an article today, and it was saying that a lot of the players, they're holding their breath every time a shot is put on frame.
That's hard.
Because they know it's horrible. And it's like, you can gain all this trust. Like with Louis van Gaal, he had this great run of form. Everybody was calling him the best goalkeeper in the world. And we didn't see any of those mistakes, really. He made a lot of great saves, and because he was just incredibly sharp. And as he's progressively gotten, older, he's gotten worse and worse. And that's like the opposite of what for goalkeepers. With age, is supposed to have more resolve, and from there be able to use the fine details to eliminate as you had as a young goalkeeper. But it seems now within the facility now at Man United, a lot of players are losing trust in him. And when you have Sergio Aguero in this FA Cup, this whole run game, and then Solskjaer, I don't know what he did, but he decided to take Romero out, and De Gea came back into the fold. And I read an article, and players who was quoted said, this is going to turn bad for De Gea. He's only going to get worse, and it's going to happen in a big final, in a big game where he's going to make a mistake. One of the players in the locker room is saying that. So as you can see, he's not only lost his own confidence, but he's eroded the trust of the players in the locker room. So I don't know where he goes from here, but it just looks like a lot of his mistakes are a lack of
hands to the ball first, 2 hands to the ball. His hands, his body went down to the ball first, boom, and his weight's backwards into the goal. Again, that's that lack of intensity and that lack of focus. He's better than that.
Yeah. From a technical standpoint, Matt, is there anything there? Yeah.
Yeah, no, go. Sorry, Michael, to interrupt you. No, I agree. I think the other thing I would add, and Saskia was already alluding to this, is just his hand position, because his hands are so close into his body. So his hands he has nowhere to really secure the ball, because ideally you want to get your hands in front of the ball. So then when you can actually have the strength of the shot, the momentum in the shot, you can absorb it backwards, or as Saskia said, push it around the post if you can't hold it. But to me, again, yes, it's a technical failing, but again, this comes down to the psychological side, because it's almost like he has a ball that he just, in a way, I don't know if arrogance is the right way, because look, we've all made this mistake. I'll raise my hand and say, I've made this mistake too. It's almost like you expect the ball to be so easy, and then you kind of hold, your hands without actually doing the correct movement, like Saskia said, to actually meet the ball in front of your body. And then that's obviously the result. You saw he was pretty ticked off afterwards. So that's the only reason I won't go as far to say as he doesn't care. That's why I try to say he's not motivated, because I think Saskia, you are right in the sense of he knows he's not going to lose his place, because as of right now, it doesn't look like he's going to. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah.
I think you can say arrogance to me. I think it's the same, like young players. Think of like a wide receiver in football that is running down the field, and they kind of just okay, this is routine, and they go to catch the ball, they take their eye off it, they're not focused, and they drop an easy ball. That's what that is. This is, his fundamentals weren't down. It's arrogant, and he didn't do the basics that we teach you all the time to keep these things clean. I don't, get a ball put into the upper 90, fine, but let up a weak goal like this, that's when we have problems. And we say that to all young goalkeepers all the time.
I want to bring this
also, I think sorry.
No.
I was just going to say, I think part of it, if this was the first error he made, no one would say anything, right. So it's of course, this is just because this is a series of errors. And then you could even argue, a series of moments in this game where, he should be doing better. So it's, it's all about timing. And that's, Stan talks about it all the time. It's, he talks about the leash, and what you kind of earn as a goalkeeper. And to be fair, De Gea has earned a very, very long leash, but also he's losing that slack in that leash now, and it's getting a lot shorter. And I think, really, if I can try to think of the coach's perspective, I think United is pushing for a Champions League spot. And of course, you could argue this the other way. I understand that. But he's thinking, don't rock the boat. The team had been doing really, really well. Get through this season. And then in preseason, it's open competition between, two, in his eyes, two of the best goalkeepers in England. So...
Yeah, I wanted to say this right here. I wanted to, if Dougie or Stan right now, want to hop in right here, because obviously you guys are at camp right now, and we did just talk about the simple things, the fundamentals. Dougie, you've been doing these tactical breakdowns all spring. on Zoom. Is there anything that you want to add that you want all the campers there to kind of focus on for the week that you're recognizing?
Welcome to the podcast. Hi, Matt.
Okay.
Well, and I just jumped in the conversation, so I don't know where you heard. I know you were talking about degea in England, and unfortunately, I'm very unversed in the EPL currently. So, but as far as technical and for the kids to be kind of focused on for the week, whether you're in the group 18, whether you're in group 1, whether you're 10 years old, whether you're 18 years old, just focusing on the little things and figure out what you want to improve this week is the biggest thing. You're coming in, most of you are coming off a long layoff right now and doing just maybe some training on your own, and really use this time to try and pick 2 or 3 things out within your game currently and try to improve that and really focus on making those things better as you're here this week. So that would be my advice. Hi, Matt.
Dougie, I love the hair, by the way. Love the hair. Go ahead, Omar.
No, I think, well, hi, Doug. Good to see you. But I think the biggest thing, like one thing that I heard once from a goalkeeper coach, I was at one of the camps, and they were doing multiple reps, or not reps, but multiple services. Like you step to the angle, or you step to the middle, then you get one shot, then you move over to the other shot afterwards. And one thing he said was when one goalkeeper like caught the ball, didn't see it all the way through and threw it back. It was like, why are you in such a rush to make the save?
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God, like, the way he framed it to me was just like, you need to really be in the moment and be present on that first shot.
Mm-hmm.
And once you secure that, then after that, you can make up the speed and the time with that movement after you've secured it. But that's what we talk about in warm-ups, building that rhythm, shots right to the hand, seeing the ball all the way through. If it's just slightly outside your range, see the ball, catch the ball. And if you can't, move your feet initially, move your feet afterwards to develop that, I guess, those good habits, so your body can be, be trained and have that muscle memory. So in my opinion, I think this was one of those ones kind of to allude or to get to what everyone said about the technical flaw, but I think also to the layer of like, don't be in such a rush to make a save. Even if it's an easy save, really go through the progressions, go through everything you were taught. And then once you get it, no one's going to even know that you took a second to see the ball and see the ball all the way through to your hands, having that coordination. People will be like, okay, they're walking back, or they're getting set up for, the counter or whatever they're getting set up for. But if you can become selfish in that way of like, I have my way of doing things as a goalkeeper, this is what I need to do to be successful. So when you're at camp, if somebody's behind you in a rep, don't go fast just because of them. Take your rep, take your time. And once you see the ball all the way through and go through all the progressions, I promise you practice makes perfect. And in a game, what degea did, you will not see that from yourself.
Right, and we talk about that. We talk about that all the time when you're doing a drill in practice or whatever. Focus on each part of the drill, each element. If there's footwork involved in the drill and then there's a collapse dive or there's something at the end, don't think ahead. A lot of times we see you young goalkeepers and your footwork's all wrong going through something because you're worried more about the save in front of you. The footwork's just as important. Get to the footwork, then make your set, then make the save. Well, if you're bronze hook, don't set, but then make the save. But we see that all the time, and I see it with my goalkeepers as well. Like they're kind of like, okay, here's the ball back. I'm like, no, take a moment, take a pause, and every single thing you're doing is important that we give you to do, and that I totally 1000% agree with you, Omar.
I want to talk about this because you were talking about focusing on first the little things prior to the movement for the save. So I want to bring up Britt Eckerstrom, who was absolutely fantastic for the Portland Thorns. He had to come into a really difficult situation last Friday in the quarterfinals against the juggernaut Courage when Bella Bixby tore her ACL, unfortunately.
It's almost like it's in slow motion. It's like, oh, here comes the ball. It's going over here. I'm going to tip it. And I know that, and we talked about this the other week. Which hand? I don't care which hand you use. You just kept the ball out of net off a great free kick. It was her backhand. Who cares? If it's her, it's a great save, period. And but she's so focused and dialed in. The whole game she was.
Yeah.
Michael, we just covered this today, actually. I mean,
did you really?
We went over set pieces today. And so, Doug, you could even comment. We had some kids in, youngsters. We also had some staff in. And what she did that pops to me is everything everyone has said, but she didn't end up leaning to her left.
Correct.
She didn't end up in any scenario except set. She trusted her work. And when she was able to see the ball, I agree with Saskia completely, because there's others that are in significant positions in this country that say there's no such thing as a top hand save. I don't care what you use to keep the ball out of the back of the net. She kept the ball out of the back of the net.
You used her face for all I care. She gets out of the net.
Exactly.
But this is a ball that's bending away from her and everything. And no, she didn't cheat. She wasn't leaning to her left or anything. And had she been, she might not have come up with that save. She was solid. She was straight. She waited till she saw the ball. It comes and she keeps it out of the net. And because of her positioning and that she is forward and in the right position, she's not too deep. That backhand save, it doesn't matter if it's your front or backhand, it keeps it out of the net.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to bring this up with Omar right here, because Omar, you posted a really fantastic post, the other day in regards to the fact of like top hand, bottom hand, block, smother. All that matters is that you get the job done. Can you kind of elaborate on that so that the kids out there understand what you're talking about?
Yeah, no, I think it's individual efficiency. And I think for me as a coach, the biggest learning curve that I've had to have is realizing that what worked for me as a goalkeeper is not going to work for everybody else. I'm 6 feet. I had really long arms. So for me, I made up, I guess, my reach. So for me, I played the game a certain way and I saw it a certain way. And it's kind of like that light bulb moment of, you know what, if I try to drill everything that I learned into somebody else, I may not be maximizing their own, efficiency or their own potential. So I think for now, when it comes to the bottom hand, top hand, block save, 1v1s, whatever, I think the biggest thing that I've been promoting with my goalkeepers is just be extremely curious. Curious to the point that you're watching the men's game, the women's game, the college game. You're watching all these different goalkeepers who may, have the same size as you, or maybe a little bit taller, maybe a little bit shorter, but just see what their decision-making looks like. And once you're able to see that, then you're going to be able to have different data points in your own mind. So a 1v1 that Mike, you saved because you came out and you smothered, maybe I see that exact same scenario. The striker took their touch the same way. And because I watched it on film, I do the exact same thing and it works. So again, not saying that everything has to be perfect, but if you can find a way to maximize who you are as a goalkeeper, 100%, that's the way to go. And if, people will teach you the baseline technique. And at Camp Shutout last year, what I loved is that Stan and Doug, like you guys did a good job of letting the coaches implement what they wanted and allowed their style to kind of come through. And then at the end of the day, we chatted about it and we figured it out. And I think that was the best part, is that I didn't feel like I had to teach it a certain way, but I taught it how I was taught. And then at the same time too, I watched other coaches and how they were taught, and I picked up little nuances, little things from them. So just like I picked up on from other coaches and I want to try and get better daily, same thing for you goalkeepers is, find ways to make you and what your problem solving capability is, make sure that you're the best problem solver for your game, not anybody else's.
Yeah, I want to bring this up right now because, for any of the young, goalkeepers there at camp who are watching this show right now, the reason we're showcasing these clips is not because we want to talk about the highlights and talk about the news of what happened in goalkeeping this week. If you notice, the way we watch highlights is very different than the way they do it on SportsCenter, right? We're breaking it down from an educational standpoint in regards to, we want you to understand why this was efficient or why this wasn't efficient for this goalkeeper. So I want you guys out there this week, if you do go, when you're done with camp and it's an exhausting day and you're on YouTube, don't just watch the highlights, from the ball standpoint. Watch what is happening with the goalkeeper right there. With that, Matt, I want you to kind of talk a little bit about what you do in regards to analyzing for the Athletic. That's a little bit different than that SportsCenter talk we're talking about.
Yeah, sure. I think I actually mentioned this on the last podcast you guys had me on. But for me, like I'm essentially, of course, I'm breaking down technical things that happen from the goalkeeper's perspective, but I'm also trying to take you through the thought process and basically let you know everything the goalkeeper has to think about in basically seconds, if not milliseconds, and essentially how something that looks simple can go so wrong. And I take it from the standpoint of, I want it to be educational. I know sometimes people think I'm trying to support the goalkeeper at all costs, and that's not the case, because I'll be the first to admit when a goalkeeper makes a mistake and does something wrong. But also, I think it's very easy and I think it's very lazy. You see it all the time on TV. I also think it's by design to have somebody like Roy Keane on TV who's just going to say, okay, this player is garbage, he's crap. I would be punching him in the face at halftime if he did that, in my locker room. that's by design because that's going to get clicks. But it's not bringing any information to anybody who's actually watching the program on, okay, what went wrong and why. And that's essentially kind of the standpoint that I take in my writing. You know, and it's all from an educational perspective. And don't get me wrong, like sometimes I look back and wish I had maybe analyzed it a little differently or added a little bit here or there. But yeah, I think that's also kind of relevant to coaching, you know, because you're going to grow as you know, you get more information and you continue to learn. And that's also part of the process, right? We're all here to get better.
So I'm going to take this over to Saskia right now, and then we're going to open it up to questions from all the young goalkeepers at camp in regards to some of these clips that we've just been seeing right here. We're going to go to penalty kicks, and we're going to showcase Jane Campbell from the Houston Dash. Absolutely phenomenal performance, again, in the quarterfinals against Utah. Went to PKs, and Saskia had, you know, I don't want to say she went off on a rant about penalty kicks last week.
Shocked. And don't guess, you're forcing that player to shoot a really good quality PK. They have to put it in the side of netting. They have to put it in the upper corner or lower corner, and beat you with power. If you guess, like more than not, you're going to get scored on. You're going to go the wrong way. If you're trying to read the hips and stuff at this level, most of the time the player's hoping you're reading if they're opening up because they're probably going to go the other way, or they might not go the other way. So you can't count on that. And I've found, especially in a shootout, if I'm reacting to the shot, I'm going to at least get one or two of those because I'm forcing you to hit a quality PK. And they're not. And I was actually talking on text with the UCLA coaches, and I said, look, go on NWSL. We were talking about the games, and I said, look at all these PK saves. Look at them reacting to the shot. Don't guess. Don't guess. You will come up with the saves. And if you guess and you run one way, will you save a ball? Yeah, you will. But in the long run, the odds that you save more PKs by just trusting on your speed and your reaction, and your focus on that ball, you will come up with a lot more than guessing. And that's, I mean, I know Franz Hook believes that. That's what I was taught. And that was always, my specialty was PKs, and that's how I did it. I never guessed.
I see Dougie chomping at the bit to come on. So
never guessed.
No, not chomping at the bit to come on. Okay. I thought I saw you shaking your head like that, like you wanted to hop on. Stan, Omar, Matt, anything you guys want to add before we open up to questions from the campers?
No, I think Mason actually has a great question that he just put in the chat here.
Oh, okay. So let's
I was looking at it.
Let's open up the chat right here. Okay. So this is a question from Mason. Mason asks, how do you know on a free kick with a 5-person wall, how many people do you put outside your post so they can't curl it near post low? Who wants to take this?
That was the thing I screwed up today too.
Somebody's on there.
Yes. Somebody said something about
you
it.
don't have to say that.
Mason, you can ask the question yourself, dude. You don't have to put it in the chat room. We can ask.
Yeah,
there you are. There you are. Yeah. All right. All right. Okay, Omar. Why don't we take it to Omar?
So near post, meaning that like it's the one that you're supposed to cover.
Meaning like so they can curl it around the wall in.
Oh, okay. Again, it depends on what your strengths are. So, for example, for me, I was really, really good at diving to my left. So I almost, when I set up a wall when my left side was exposed and the wall was there, I put my tall guys there, but I was also just like, okay, I'm almost like baiting them to just hit it over that wall so I can really extend myself and use what I like to do on my left side. So it changed for me. So I put, my shorter guys probably on the left side of goal, left them a little bit shorter so that they wouldn't bend it to my actual goal side, for me at least. But then on the other side of it, on my right side, I wasn't very good. So I put all of my tallest players that I could at the end of the wall to, tell the striker, like, look, if you're going to beat me, it's not going to be over this wall right here. So again, you have to kind of like play the averages here and there. And if you have enough tall players on your team where you feel like you can secure that far post from being scored on, then I would put all your tallest players there and then force them to beat you everywhere else. So what that means, Mason, is if you cover that far post, you have to be, like we saw with Britt Eckerstrom, she stayed planted, she didn't move, and she didn't allow the striker to see her shifting or leaning early. So you have to really hold your position. If you trust your wall, hold your position, and then from there you have to say, beat me. Do what you got to do, but you're not going to beat me by me going early or by me not, reassuring my wall.
To answer the amount of people, I think on the outside of your post, my rule of thumb was always I split the wall from my last person on their inside shoulder. So that person is basically almost a body length past. So the rest of the wall is inside, right? And so that last person, the ball is on their inside shoulder, and the rest of their body's on the outside of that post. So that's to answer your question. That's how I've always said that last person.
Yeah. I was going to say this right now. In regards to the wall, Saskia, you're such a big, huge proponent in regards to the positioning of your wall determines everything. Everything. Can you kind of elaborate on that in regards to, because I've seen a lot of these young goalkeepers and they're setting up their walls on what they quote unquote think is their weak side, so that, that they've got the most protection type of a thing. But in reality, you don't want to do it that way, right?
Well, no, I mean, you only set your wall to your weak side to cover your strong side if the ball's dead center. So if the ball's dead center, you don't split a wall unless it's a indirect kicked in the box. If the wall's dead center, I set the wall to my strong side, because that I know that in order for the shooter to score to my right, they have to go up and over the wall. And that's my strong diving side. So that means I can fly. I know I can fly to that side. So if they come up over the wall, I can get there. That leaves my left side, my weaker side, which I don't like to say if I have a weaker side, but my left side.
We all do.
I know, I'm kidding. My left side is the open side. And that way, that shot I see the entire time. Like I can see that ball as it's coming and everything, get my feet there and everything. So I'm forcing this above dipping shot to my right because I know I can cover that better. So that's dead center. Anything that's off center, then the ball's got to go off that side post, period. Like, if it's to my left, if the ball's off to the left, then it's coming off my left post. Off to the right, it's coming off my right post, and centering and going in from there. And then you're off to the edge of your last man, and you get a good sight of the ball. As far as what I meant by indirect kicks in the box, depending on your wall having to be 10 yards back, you're playing the ball. So if it's an indirect kick in the box, I split my wall. I'm in the center or wherever the ball is. And once that ball's touched, I'm going like it's a breakaway, and I'm going in. I'm going to be big, and my wall has to hold. And then we go from there. Because if you're going to wait, if you're not going to go and they're just going to drill the ball at you, you're hoping the wall holds, you're hoping it doesn't rebound off people and stuff. This way, I'm coming out, I'm being big, it's hitting me, and we go from there. That's how I do things.
Thank you for your input.
You're welcome, sweetheart.
Oh, Mason, can we see that smile? Can we see that smile that's always winning? There you go.
It is. I like that.
Look at that. I want to continue on with set pieces right here, and I want to showcase what's going on. This morning, actually, Inter Miami and NYCFC had a game, and Sean Johnson had a fantastic game for NYCFC. So shout out to him for that. Yeah, he definitely did. But I want to go to this set piece right here. Basically what happens is there's a ball that's swung in, and Fagal gets a header on it. So I'm going to pull it up right here, and I want you guys to see.
You can't come for that ball, period. Yep. It'll be a debacle if you did with that many people running at you and everything. I mean, maybe like you come up with it, maybe you don't. I think his step back and staying big, weight forward, body positioning, gave him the opportunity to just make that touch. So, all in all, it was handled the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. No, I think Mike, you and I have talked about this, and the right terminology that we can use for us goalkeeper coaches, and especially goalkeepers, to kind of have an idea of what to do when it comes to crosses or services into the box. And one thing we talked about is the word delay, and delay your movement, which means, see what's in front of you and then react to what's in front of you. I think a lot of times, I mean, even for me, CIF, I think it was a quarterfinal game. They had a long throw in. I hadn't really done much during that game. And I said, you know what, no matter where this ball falls, I'm coming for it. And there was a long throw. I took my step forward. The ball went right over my head. The guy headed it in, and they scored. And ever since then, I realized, you know what, I should never have a preconceived idea of what's going to happen. I'm just going to delay, pause for a half second, see what's in front of me, and then react to what's happening. So to everybody, I mean, Sean Johnson, I think that was a kind of a rough example, Mike, to be honest with you, because it was so straightforward. But but I think if you guys have any crosses throughout the week, which I'm sure you will at camp, just make sure when that ball gets served in, you delay. And then once you actually see the picture, then you can react, whether if it's a ball you come for, a ball you call away on, a ball you catch, a ball you punch, all that stuff.
But the reason, Omar, I wanted to bring up that ball right there is because it was so straightforward. It was so black and white, like not to go for that ball. But I've seen, and I'll be honest, I've seen it, especially in camp settings where kids are trying to impress, trying to go for those balls. And I love experimentation, but you also have to understand risk versus reward, right, Matt?
Absolutely. And, the acronym KISS, keep it simple, stupid. That's like what every goalkeeper's motto should be. Don't do anything, don't make anything look harder than it needs to be. The best goalkeepers in the world make things look easy. That's why I think Stefan Fry is one of the best in MLS, because he does throw himself, but he is very, very efficient in what he does. You look at Alyssa Nair this weekend as well, the shot from distance where it's to the top corner and she doesn't even leave her feet. Almost every other goalkeeper would throw themselves there and fully extend, and I don't want to say make a show of it, but enjoy the save, like we all like to do from time to time. But really just keep things simple. Be efficient, do your job. Don't try to do anything special. That's when I got myself in, my biggest pickles as a player is, kind of like Omar said, like maybe you can go long stretches of the game and you're telling yourself like, okay, like I need to make a big save here. And sometimes, it works to your benefit. You do make this huge save, but sometimes you make a meal of something that should have been very, very straightforward.
Yeah, and I think that comes with age and experience as well, to be honest with you. Like
definitely.
With Nair, like you do realize, like, I don't have to do this. Let's just keep this simple. That's why I do all my footwork training and everything. We stay on your feet if you can, make the save easy. We don't want to make a meal of things. I look at it like, why did you make that harder than it had to be? And that's what I'll say to my young goalkeepers. Like, everybody on the sideline right now is thinking that was a great save. And I'm saying if you took a step to your right, you probably still be holding on to the ball. It wouldn't be a corner kick. And, we'd be going the other direction. So although, mom and dad might be over there like, oh my God, he just dove all over the place, or she just dove all over the place. I'm sitting there going like, really? Keep it simple. Simple.
Yeah. Mason's got another question. And by the way, if Mason wants to keep asking questions, absolutely, Mason, keep going and keep asking questions. But we do want to open it up to everybody else to be asking questions. The whole point of this panel, this whole point of this show that we do is to make people who are curious and educate, and for people to be asking questions. That's why we don't do, it's not a Q&A interview on like, what was your favorite save, that sort of thing. We want to be growing as goalkeepers, all of us right here. So Mason, if you want to ask the question live in person, feel free to put it out there. Mason, you want to ask it? Yes? Or I can do it for you. Up to you. All right, I'll just do it for you. Okay, so Mason asks, how do you deal with contact on crosses and making sure that you hold the ball? So I'm going to start off with Saskia, because she's very confident on crosses.
It's, you have to, it's a timing thing. It's, you have to go in with confidence. It's leave late, arrive early, follow through. So you don't want to go into a crowd, jump straight up and come down with the crowd. You want your timing to be so that your momentum, always remember that if you time your cross and your jump, you're going to be higher than anybody else can combat you with their head. That's just the reality of it, because your arms are reaching above their head. So you're getting yourself into trouble if your timing's not right. If you're going into the crowd at the wrong time, if you're coming up straight and coming down, if you jump too early, you go up too early and everything like that. That's when you get into trouble. You don't hold on to the ball. If you time it right and your footwork is right, then you're kind of going up, catching the ball, and you're not challenged. Up there, you're not challenged. And so then you're just holding on to the ball and trusting your body to come down. So that's where the practice comes in, and it's really, really, really a timing issue.
I want to bring this up with Omar here because you made a post about a week ago in regards to delaying your movement, and Saskia just brought that up again too.
Leave late, arrive early.
Yeah,
that was Tony Chico's term.
But why is that so important, Omar, in regards to making sure that you're there at the right time so that you absorb the contact properly? Because if you're too late, you're not going to hold that ball, and if you're too early, you're probably going to get slammed. So can you kind of break that down
altogether?
Yeah, no, I think when you're going into traffic, you want to maintain ability to create momentum. And I think sometimes when the ball gets served in, if we step too soon, then that 3-yard space that we originally had prior to the ball being served in for us to actually be able to create movement or create momentum to absorb those hits is a race, because now I'm stepping in about 1.5 yards, and I only have 1.5 yards left to really gain momentum. And unfortunately, the runners are coming in with a full head of steam, probably like 5-6 yards of built momentum. So now you're running in almost straight up, and they're coming in with all this, all this power. So as a goalkeeper, you're almost feeling like not in no man's land, but you're in that position of like, oh crap. Oh no, I'm about to take a big hit. And I think to add on to that though, I think what I've changed as well in my coaching style is I used to always be about hold everything. And you try and hold everything when you can. Like Saskia said, you don't want to, commit, you put up a rebound, essential rebound, ball out for a throw in or a corner kick, because set pieces are extremely important at the professional level. So be smart about that and have good habits now. But now, I think with some of the young kids that I train, they would look at me and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I catch that cross." And be like, "No, don't get it confused. If you can catch it, great. But I want you to feel comfortable with the progression of your movement. So if you're going up and you feel like it's a ball you have to just help it on." So I think as coaches, we need to do a better job of like showing the kids that it's okay to not experiment. I mean, you can experiment, but like what feels most natural and comfortable for you. But if you do make the decision, make it without any questions. If you're going to get 2 punches on a cross, you better make sure that ball goes outside the 18, 30, 40 yards away. Their goalkeeper better be coming out to scoop the ball. That's how far I want you to punch it. But don't come out and go halfway and then, give a light little touch and feel like, it's okay. Sorry. I tried to punch it, but you told me to catch it. So I tried to catch it too. So once you've decided, you got to go 100%, whether it's a catch or a punch, and with trial and error. And that's why these camps are so important, because you got a camp shutout. You guys get so many repetitions that expand your range, try new things. But at the end of the day, the one thing that stays consistent is that delay and pause prior to the service.
Yeah. And it gives you the ability to assess the flight of the ball. How many young goalkeepers do we see? Their first thing is that lunge forward. Well, once you do that, and that's why the ball's going past your head. So that's why it is that delay. In Tony's words, leave late. Give that hiccup, assess the ball. But then when you go, and you take the right lane and the right angle to the ball to get done what you need to get done. And this is something that takes practice. It's repetition, you guys. At the end of every pro practice, most national team practice, the goalkeepers would stay out and we would just field crosses and crosses and crosses. And it's timing. And like Omar said, then you learn your range. You learn starting position for each different type of cross and everything, and how far you can go and what is good for your range and the steps you get on the ball. But it's repetition. If you're not going to practice it, it's just not going to happen. You're just not going to be in a game and somebody's going to knock the cross and you're just going to be like, oh, you have to do it. You have to practice that.
Yeah, I want to bring that up with Matt because, that's one of the things that a lot of times is analyzed in regards to crossing situations, when you're breaking down goalkeepers. And I love it from the fact that obviously you write from the insight of the goalkeeper and what the goalkeeper's actually going through right there. So can you kind of walk through the mindset of the goalkeeper, prior to that touch being played and how their mind has to act?
Yeah, I mean, I do want to add on to what Saskia said too, because hey, I said it right there. I listened to the Friends Hook podcast, so I know it's not Saskia. Yeah, just gotta pat my back there. But I agree. Like practice is like the most important thing, and I mean, I think, and look, I've made this mistake myself as a coach as well. Like we just send crosses into the box with the goalkeeper with no pressure on them, or maybe the other goalkeeper, putting minor pressure on them. You have to be put into realistic situations. And I think that's something, Mason, that you need to talk to your coach with, if if you're having some problems in the balls lifted into the box, tell him or her that you want to work on that, with live players, so you can start to see what it's like to have the pressure around you, so you can get that timing right. Because I think everything that Omar and Saskia are saying about, the timing of the ball that's the most important thing. But it's also very, very difficult, especially when you have people around you. And any of the experienced people on this panel here will tell you, like, the higher up you go in the the higher level, forwards will get really, really cheeky. And if you're as a goalkeeper and you're standing there with your arms down to your side, they're going to hold your arms so you can't lift them. So then they impede your path to the ball. Stan taught me this very, very early in college. He told me to keep my hands above my head. I did it all through my 10 years. Even when there was no one around me, I had my hands up, just to kind of create that extra bubble and that extra space that you need. So that's kind of my little bit of advice there. But really, it does come down to timing, and it comes down to being fierce, not having any fear of missing the ball and just going for everything. One of the best, goalkeepers in the Premier League, in my opinion, with crossing situations is Nick Pope, for Burnley. Like, he's phenomenal. Like, you just see him, like, balls lifting to the box, he goes and gets it. It doesn't matter if it's 12 yards out or if it's 2 yards off his line. He's going to get it, and he's not going to care who's in his path, and he's going to run you over, and he's going to claim the ball. And if he can't get there completely, he's going to punch it out of danger, and then they're going to get, restart.
I want to bring this up in regards to mindset, because I love what you're saying there in regards to that about the putting the hands up type of thing they're going to try to get in your head. This has nothing to do with crossing, but it just reminded me of what the great scoring legend Michelle Aker said on the show a couple weeks ago, when she was saying that the forward is going to try to find every single little mental advantage that they can find on you, and that the stronger you are mentally as a goalkeeper, the less you're going to be affected for it. I think the one thing that I remember is once I was in a situation, I was actually playing in the PDL at the time, and a player put studs right into my foot as I'm before the cross is going, and I literally immediately thought about that rather than the ball, and because of that I was late and I got scored on, and it made me realize. Go ahead, Saskia.
No, but I think that what you guys are bringing up is when you're training this, look, you can go out and just train crosses by yourself and get to catch a bunch of balls, and that's great. But the most important thing is to get used to people around you and to get used to that. And what we see happening a lot with youth keepers is as soon as those runs start, you start getting discombobulated. And so, that's when you see that near post run, and it's this automatic reaction to kind of move forward, because that near post run, it's not your problem. The problem is the cross coming in, and focus on the ball. And the more you see that with people around you, to be honest with you, when I would go for crosses, I didn't see anybody. Like, I know they're in my peripheral vision. I know they're in my area. I just saw the ball and my timing and everything. And so you kind of zone that out. And that takes a lot of practice in getting used to people around you. So when you train this, I would behoove you to put, if it's just keeper training, put your other keepers in the box with you and then rotate it that way and have them just disrupt your mind and your peripheral vision and everything till you get to the point that you're not worried about that. You're worried about your timing and positioning and the ball. And that's kind of how we always did it.
We have a question right here. This is not about crossing. This is I'm gonna send this to Omar because Matt was just talking, but this is definitely up Matt's alley for sure too. This is one of those questions that Pro GK Academy probably gets every 10 seconds. Omar, this is from Jude, and it goes: who do you think should be the starting national team goalkeeper for England? Jordan Pickford, Nick Pope, Dean Henderson, or someone else?
Ben Foster. I think
good shot.
Watford fans will love you right there.
No, I think this is it's one of those tough ones too, where like we talk about with Jordan Henderson, for example, being with Sheffield. Then you look at Pickford, who's not. Everton is a good team, but they're not top 5 teams in the EPL. So a lot of his mistakes kind of get swept under the rug, and he is one of those kind of erratic goalkeepers where he does a lot of risky stuff and he gets away with it. And as we saw at the World Cup, he should have won the Golden Glove in my opinion, but he did a lot for England and was successful with the team because of his erratic behavior every once in a while. And unfortunately for him, he got a lot of things right at the World Cup. But with Everton, and you see him for a longer span throughout the season, sometimes he's a little bit unreliable. And I don't know if the national team, for me, I don't know if, I'm sure they have an even slate, but coming into every camp, I'm sure Pickford is the number one until, there's proven otherwise. So as long as he keeps his performances up, no one will take his place. But for me, Ben Foster, Matt and I, we talked about this before. Ben Foster is one of those goalkeepers he's been around for a long time, had a few games with Man United back in the day, didn't pan out the way it should have. But
feels like that was 20 years ago.
It feels a long time ago, yeah. But he's bounced back and he's done a great job with Watford. He's been very, very, very consistent. And then again, if it's a tournament like the World Cup, we saw with the whole issue in 2010 where they were trying to figure out, should David James be the starting goalkeeper? Should Rob Green be the starting goalkeeper? And then Rob Green got the job, and we know what happened after that. Then they had David James fill in the last few games. So as long as they're finding the person who is in fine form at the moment, great. And if they can't find somebody who's been consistent, go with the old guy. And Ben Foster to me is one of those guys who's just been he's just been so consistent, and he'd be a good choice.
Matt, anything you want to add to that? I know you watch this league every day.
Yeah, I think the question we have to ask ourselves is, how do we determine who's the starting goalkeeper for the national team? Is it the goalkeeper who's performing the best for club, or who's performing the best for the national team? Because Pickford is not, yes, because he has not been very good for Everton, but every time he's put on an English shirt, he's been pretty good. And he's like Omar said, like at the World Cup, he was phenomenal for England. Even despite his deficiencies in his game, he stepped up when they needed him, and he was class. And even after the World Cup with England, he's been very, very good. So I think that's first how we have to define the question. For me, I'm leaning in who's performed for the national team, and I think that is something that could be coming up with the U.S. national team as well. And kind of trying to figure out who's going to be. I still think it's Zach Steffen right now. But if he ends up not playing for his club, but then keeps performing for the national team, he deserves to stay, even though he's not playing week in and week out. But from the perspective, like, you could make a case for any of those guys, including Ben Watford, because Pickford, he's very much the modern. Pope, to me, is the most well-rounded. He's just like an old school throwback goalkeeper. He does everything really, really well. Henderson's kind of a split between the two, because he can kind of do a little bit of both. If I were the coach, I would choose Nick Pope. That's just because I'm in love with Nick Pope and everything he does. He's the type of guy who's just so technically proficient in everything. And he fits that KISS acronym, keep it simple, stupid, because he does, like, almost in a caveman-like way, see ball, get ball, and he does it, and he keeps the ball out of the back of the net. But I know why they stick with Pickford. And it's a very, I don't think it's as open of a case as a lot of us want to make it, because I think Gareth Southgate is really pleased with Pickford. Obviously, I think he wishes that he was performing at Everton, but at the end of the day, I think, as long as he performs for England, he's going to keep playing.
I'm going to do this right here. We're going to move on to trivia in 1 second, but we have one more question right here. And actually, this is actually a fantastic question, so I really want to get to it, and I would love to have all the panel ask this, because this is a huge, huge deal to a lot of kids at this age group. And they're asking, what things are most important going into 11v11 for the first time? So this is a young goalkeeper who's moving into the big goal, into the 11v11 for the first time in their career, which I know for us, that was a long time ago, but put yourself in the shoes of a young goalkeeper. That is a very difficult position to be in.
It wasn't that long ago for me. So what are you laughing at, Biz?
Nothing, Stan. I'm just happy that you're chiming in here. I love to hear your voice. I miss it.
The depth, understanding where they are in relation to a goal that is obviously a bigger goal and more people that can have a go at you, but the depth in relation to where they are to the goal line. So, naturally, I think they're going to find their width. They're going to get across the goal. They may not cover it all, but that's easier for them to see. But their depth in relation to advancing out too far and getting chipped easily, it can be a defeating moment for any goalkeeper at any age. But for a young goalkeeper, that can be something that can unfortunately define them a bit, where you have too many coaches across the globe, not just in the U.S., that will, oh, well, he gets chipped, she gets chipped all the time, he gets chipped, you know, and they'll pigeonhole that youngster. So I think understanding their relation depth-wise to their goal line is a big deal when moving to that large space.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. I you know, what you're going to find moving from into an 11v11 is the size of the goal is going to be a major issue. Obviously, there's so many other things we can talk about, and that's organization, but it's going to come down to really when you first step onto this 11v11 is positioning. And, you know, you are going to get scored on high. It's going to happen. You know, I have my own opinions about at what age we should be stepping into big goals and what age we shouldn't. But I think that, you know, I agree with you 1,000% that it's positioning and depth and where you are in relation to your team when you're on offense and where you are defensively in your goal is the first thing that you really need to bring into this. And everything else can kind of evolve from there.
I want to bring up this right now in regards to the 11v11, you know, for the question right here is also understand the speed of play is going to change. Because the dynamics are completely different when you're talking about a field that big. It's going to take much longer for the ball to get to you. Also, you're going to see a lot more channel service. You're going to see a lot more crossing going on in the game because there's just more open space. So recognize that the game is going to start being less direct and it's going to be starting being more wide when you're in that situation.
Yeah, Mike, I would add also too, like if you're stepping into that, set your expectations extremely real. Like be realistic. If you go into it, then, you know, saying I'm not going to make any mistakes and I'm going to prove to everybody that I'm going to be good once you transition, don't do that. I think I made that mistake. A lot of us made that mistake where we don't allow ourselves the freedom to try new things, and we don't have that freedom to try new things. We're just going to keep making the same mistakes over and over. So, for example, I was playing at 10 years old because I was so much taller than most people. At 10 years old, I was playing with under 12s.
You had that mustache at 10, right?
it was growing, but I definitely I shaved it off around 12 and a half, 13. So, but no, I was playing on this bigger field and I was a little chubby, so I was extremely slow off my line. So any ball that came over the top, I would try and come out for, and they would always beat me to it. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stay a little bit even. The ball, they started realizing that I'm super slow running back to my goal. So they started shooting the ball from like 50 yards out. I mean, I heard parents screaming, shoot the ball. He's not going to get it at like 10 years old. So I'm just like, what? I don't know how to react to this. I'm getting embarrassed. We're losing 11-0. My team sucks. But I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to try and figure out a way to adjust to the speed of play. So I realized, okay, I'm not going to get chipped anymore, but I'm also not going to get beat, for like a sweeper keeper ball over the top. So I need to find a way where I can do both. So that's when I started trying new things. Okay, staggered position. Okay, maybe start at the 18, but when that ball is getting played over the top, drop off completely. So I think there's going to be an adjustment period, so be realistic with that. But once the adjustment period comes, don't be afraid to try new things because you're going to have a lot of mistakes. But as long as you make progress from those mistakes, you're going to be a lot happier.
I'll tell you something, like in this, some coaches might, if you're playing against a team and all they think about is scoring and boot it and kick it high when you go into an 11v11 game, that's not the type of team that I coach, nor would I want to play on. I would want you to be on a team that understands that these changes are going to affect you. The size of the goal is going to affect you, but to learn soccer properly and to learn how to play properly on a bigger field. Anybody can boot it. Anybody can kick it high when you change, and you're 5 foot tall and you're adapting to this size and size of the field. That's not soccer. That's all I care about is scoring and winning. And that's they're not going to go anywhere. And so as you get put in these situations and you learn positioning and you learn how to deal with it, you're going to go far. And you're going to be doing the right thing. So don't be hard on yourselves.
So we've got a lot of questions coming in right now, guys. Unfortunately, we're running low on time right now. So if you have more questions, feel free to either send them to Stan or you can send them to contact at inside the 18. That's the number 18media.com or at Goalkeeper Podcast. And I promise you, I will get them to everybody here on the panel, or I will answer them myself as well too. We're going to move on into a trivia game right now, guys. So we're going to be seeing how much you guys have been paying attention during the show, because these actually have come up during the show. And Stan, I believe you have some prizes to give out to people who answer properly.
I do have prizes to give out, and because there's a special guest that's going to be standing next to me here in a second.
Ooh.
I'd like to put Matt Pyzdrowski on the spot here real quick. Matt, who's your favorite coach?
Oh no. Doug Anderson.
Good man. Let's go to trivia. Yes, I got things to bring to give away to people tomorrow. Matt, you're a class act.
All right, so let's see how close everybody's been paying attention to the show. So the first question out there to all the young goalkeepers is, what country does Matt Pyzdrowski live in? What country does Matt Pyzdrowski live in? Okay.
Mason,
and
fast.
Mason just tooted in with Sweden.
Yeah, he was
Luke,
fast.
Yeah, he was fast. Man, a lot of people.
Dalton, Gavin, Hillary as well. Yep. All you guys get brownie points.
Well, who got it? Who asked first? Because we haven't even answered whether who's correct or who's not. So Stan, who got it in first?
I saw a hand up, Luke. Now, I don't know.
Okay.
Luke raised his hand, and that came in before Mason. I love you, Mason, but Luke
I didn't know if we were doing that or not.
Okay. All right, Luke. All right, wait, what country is it?
Sweden.
Matt, is it Sweden?
Yep. Good answer, bud. Well done.
Boom. Boom. Beautiful. Fantastic. Congratulations to Luke. Obviously, Stan's going to provide you with your prize tomorrow based on the end of the day already. All right. So the next one here. What is the name? This is going to be difficult. What is the name of the Dutch goalkeeper coach whom Saskia trained with? What is the name of the Dutch goalkeeper coach whom Saskia trained with? So Luke still has his hand raised, but Luke, you're ineligible, unfortunately.
No, he's shaking his head. He said no.
Oh, no? Okay. All right. Does anybody have any idea who was paying attention? Because it was mentioned on this show.
Several times.
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah. Does anybody? Stan, anybody?
Stan.
Lucas says, can you only answer once?
No, Luke
Luke
you
is
can
saying,
answer.
can you only answer once? I'll leave that to Saskia.
No,
Saskia.
go ahead, Luke.
All right.
Oh, I'm not saying for this question, just in general.
Oh. All right, you're going to have to move on.
All right. Can nobody going once? Going twice? All right. All right, Stan.
Guys,
let Stan answer.
We're going to let Stan answer.
Franz Hoek.
Yep.
Franz Hoek is the answer. So, guys, this is why you have to been paying attention, paying attention. All right. So the next one, all right, this is getting, I don't know. People might be able to get this one. We'll see how diehard some people are here. Okay. Which college conference did Omar Zeenni play in?
Wow, that was fast.
That was fast.
Woo!
That was fast. Omar, was it the Big West?
It was, yeah.
Wow, well done.
All right.
That was fast.
Extra credit, Annie. Yeah. Can you name the school?
You didn't even get the words out.
Yeah.
She can't name the school. I don't know who fed her the question.
Yeah. Oh!
Hey,
all right. And can you say that mascot?
So we understand. We can put this in perspective. Annie Welch is going to Yale. So
wow. Okay.
Right. She's
well
smarter
done,
than
Annie.
Google. So Google is here in her. That's just.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Wow. Yale and a high-level goalkeeper. I love it. Absolutely love it. Okay. All right. Okay, so we're going to move on to this one right here. I don't think anyone's going to get this. We'll see. All right. What TV network was Michael Madgen's short-lived sketch series on?
Oh, my God.
What TV network did Michael Madgen have a sketch series for 6 episodes? And Elise Crone goes... Amazon. And the answer is Amazon. You are absolutely correct. Wow.
All right.
Hey, Joe, I love that somebody put Lifetime. It's
Lifetime. That's the best.
Oh, okay.
Hallmark.
All right, extra credit. Extra credit. What TV network did Saskia Weber have a TV show on?
Oh, you'll never get that.
What TV network did Saskia Weber have a TV show on? Let's see if anyone can get this.
No, you can't. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Before we give
Ocho.
Before we give out the prizes, we're gonna check out the search history from everybody, just so we know who's on Google switching.
Yeah, you can't. You're on Google right now.
HTTV. What is that?
Home and gardening? No.
Home and garden television.
Home fixing.
ESPN.
I can do that.
ESPN. Mason says ESPN. Anybody have any other guesses? Any other guesses?
Food Network. Hey, I am a cook. My mom's a chef, but no. I love it.
Oh, man.
You'll never get it.
Oh, my gosh.
Because you're Googling.
Well,
Q Television.
Wow.
Yes, you got it right.
Bergen got it right. Q Television.
On
Q
Time Warner.
Television.
Yes.
All right. Stan, we have time for a couple more trivias before we wrap up.
The Disney Channel. I like that.
Right time, Stan? We good? All right. Okay. So we got a couple more here. So this is one that we're going to have to see how many people have been watching Inside the 18 for the last couple years. How many co-hosts have there been on Inside the 18?
Oh,
how many
boy.
co-hosts have there been? Jesus, my gosh. 26. 12. 13, 14, 2. Let's see if anyone can get. Oh, hold on. Who just put from Tucker? 5. 5 is the absolute correct answer. Now, Tucker, can you name all 5 co-hosts in Inside the 18 history?
I don't even think I can.
I thought it was 4.
5.
Is it?
Well, it's been on for since 2016.
Omar, Saskia.
And Saskia.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my answers.
That's 2. Okay. How many more? There's 3 more. That's it. Nope.
I think they forgot your name.
Anybody? Okay. Michael. Okay. Trevor Stiles. And Patrick McLean.
Oh yeah, Patrick. Of course, I was on when Patrick
co-host.
joined. Ah, that's right. I should have known that.
Oh man. All right. Stan, Dougie, you guys got any trivia questions you want to ask? Otherwise, I'll go to one more. Stan, Dougie, are they still there?
They checked out.
Did they check out? Okay, fine. So it's okay. Then we're going to go to this one. Okay. What 4 teams are in the NWSL Challenge Cup semifinals this week? What 4 teams are in the NWSL Challenge Cup semifinals? Omar, I hope you know them.
I do.
From Jude, Red Stars, Portland, Sky Blue, and Dash. And the answer is, you are absolutely correct. Red Stars, Portland, Sky Blue, and Dash. All right. True or false? The name of Seattle's USL's reserve team is Sounders 2. True or false? True. False. From Ben G. Okay. Ben, what is the name of Seattle's USL team? Let's see if he can get it. It was said on the show.
Wow.
Defiance. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. All right. This is going to be the last one, guys. The last one, and then we're going to sign off, right, guys? So first off, thank you to everybody at Camp Shutout for letting us do this opportunity. I hope you guys got a lot of fun from this. The show is going to be shown on a watch party tomorrow on Facebook Live. We're going to chop it up, edit it, make sure that it's nice and solid for everybody to view. Make sure some content might be removed before we put it back up there, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Guys, we do this show 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Podcast comes out every Friday. Last question, guys. Which former Spurs player did Michael Magid shut out in a scrimmage against the Galaxy reserves? Which former Spurs player did Michael Magid shut out in a scrimmage against the Galaxy reserves? And CC goes, Jurgen Klinsmann. Oh, my God. CC and Amanda, that is correct. How the heck did you get that? I didn't think anyone would get that.
Mike is truly stumped here.
I am completely stumped. I'm absolutely All right, guys, last question, and we're all going to answer this correctly. What is the best goalkeeper camp in the history of goalkeeper camps? Everybody at the same time. 1, 2, 3. Camp Shutout.
Camp Shutout.
That's all the time on Inside the 18, guys. We are out. Later.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.